Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Richard Liu, and yeah, I left Harvard Medical School. So it's been almost 3 years since my last video that was taken during second year in the middle of my rotations. And I just wanted to make this video to share a little bit more about why I left, what I've been doing since, and what this means for my future, which might surprise you. So stay tuned till the end to figure out what I'm going to be doing next. I'm also hoping that this can be part of an ongoing conversation for people in medicine to normalize thinking about switching careers or even considering alternate paths. I left Harvard Medical School to become a management consultant in New York City. It almost pains me to say that because I can see so many of my professors rolling their eyes hearing me say this, but it truly was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. So for those of you that are new to this channel, I want to give a really quick background about who I am. I went to Princeton for undergrad, where I studied chemistry and minored in global health and health policy. When I was there, I did a summer internship at the management consulting firm where I work now, and did receive an offer to come back, but deferred it for 6 years. Instead, I got a Rhodes Scholarship and skipped across the pond to Oxford, where I studied global health and epidemiology, and then I got my MBA. And then I came back to Boston to start medical school, where I stayed for 3 years before taking this leave of absence, moving to New York City. Now, when I started medical school at Harvard, I went through a lot of the ups and downs that come with being in this incredible space. Working with patients for the first time, being in the operating for the first time felt like the highest of highs. But at the same time, being in a hospital is extremely grueling, and it's no surprise that you look around and you're surrounded by physicians and nurses and healthcare professionals who are burnt out and exhausted and feel undervalued and are underpaid. And it really led me to wonder whether this was the type of environment that I wanted to wake up to every single day, to dedicate my time and my energy, even though it came with the gift of seeing patients and treating them. And so I went back to the management consulting firm that had given me that offer 5 years ago at this point, and finessed both medical school and this consulting firm to let me take a leave of absence and go work for them for a period of time in New York City. Now, when I started, I had 3 big goals in mind. Number one, I wanted to learn how these types of organizations think about big picture healthcare problems that affect hundreds of thousands, millions of people at a time. Number two, I wanted to learn how to guide organizations and their people as they're trying to figure out how to move from point A to point B. And finally, I wanted to learn how to be a better coach and mentor, starting with how I learn and how I develop, and then translating that to the way that I coach and mentor other people. But I think the 3 most important lessons that I learned had nothing to do with medicine or management consulting. They're probably things that are pretty obvious, but really took me this time to appreciate as someone who had never really lived a life outside of graduate school. Number one, life is really about the journey rather than the destination, and learning to be happy on the walk that you are walking. Medical school teaches us to always think about the next thing, whether it's getting into medical school, getting into residency, publishing papers. And I learned that there is such peace in being happy and content with where you are exactly in that moment. And to anyone out there that feels like they're not doing well enough or good enough, the best advice that I heard is that you are right where you need to be. Number two, there is a lot to life outside of your work and your career. And as much as you invest in your work and in your studies, you have to invest in your life as well. I've learned that it's not so much a work-life balance as it is a work-life integration. And each one affects the way that you bring yourself into the other. I feel really, really grateful that the first time I had a real income, I got to spend it in New York City. And I've become a lot more relentless about protecting my own boundaries and the way that I bring myself to work. And finally, your people and your community should always come first. Whether it's your family or your friends or your mentors or your mentees, walk through this shared journey of life with them. Through experiences and through camaraderie. These are the people that are going to be the ones that build you up to be your best and will hold you when you're feeling down. So invest in these relationships. Now, when I started at this management consulting firm, I wanted to learn things as quickly as I could. And I had some mentors that took a chance on me early on and let me start managing teams as an engagement manager after just 7 months. I got promoted after a year. And now that I've been there, I really feel like I've had the chance to understand what life is like as a management consultant. And let me tell you, it's fun. It's filled with with growth, and it's exhilarating, and it's amazing working with people both on the client side and within your own teams. But at the same time, even though I find the work really exhilarating and very exciting, I realized that there was something that was missing for me. And it was the one-on-one relationship that I get to have with a patient, that closeness that I feel when I am counseling a patient or when I'm in the operating room. Ultimately, I realized that even though I really love working within healthcare systems and I find the work really interesting, it was these one-on-one relationships that I can have with patients that keep me sustained in the long term. I found this relationship with patients more of a calling than just a job, and really an integral part of my identity and how I see myself. So right now I am both working at this management consulting firm and finishing up my final year at Harvard Medical School, which I know sounds crazy, and I'll make another video explaining how that arrangement worked out. I ultimately did apply to residency, and I'm making this video right now before match day, so I have no idea what's going to happen. If I do match, I am going to happily go to residency. And if I don't, I will happily continue working at this management consulting firm for now. So there is a lot in the air right now. I think I'm going to be releasing this video on match day. So the day that you all see this will be the day that I find out what I'm going to be doing for the next several years of my life. So knock on wood that it works out. Anyway, if you have any questions about medical school, about management consulting, about what it was like applying to residency, please drop them in the comments below. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the other side of match day.